So it's been a few weeks and Title Update 1 has had all the heavy hitters released now, and I just want to talk about them for a couple of minutes. So first up we got Mizutsune, and honestly, wow, like my first time around seeing that head break within 2 hits was a full on like, huh? All this talk about the game being too easy and this dude's head's breaking with literally 2 hits, like what is actually going on? And then they hit you with it, right? The Soul Seer glow, and I loved it. Like I was expecting that just to be the tempered version, but no, and thank God, like they've carried on this trend of merging moves and behaviors from different versions of monsters, and it totally mixes up the fight, because once that flame is out, this guy is jumping and spinning all over the place, and honestly, I adored it. Now, I've only hunted Mizutsune and Rise prior to this, but this is just instantly shot up in my list of top 6th gen monsters, so it's a fantastic fight, and that tempered version is nuts. The Soul Seer happening way earlier in the fight, the backflipping being a one shot, is still a little low on the HP side for me, but that monster's still a threat. Next up we have HR Zoshia, and this thing pushed my shit in twice. I was on my last cart of my 3rd attempt when this thing finally came down, and I'm not embarrassed to admit that the first cart on the first run was within 10 seconds. Like that ground slam and the push forward, like man, let me tell you something, I could not believe what just happened. And I hit this thing once and it was just over. But learning that fight for what feels like the first time and having to actually use the crystals against it and learning to manage them for the big AoE, it was just such a good time, and that dragon attack phase where all the crystals have come off is absolutely incredible. And it's just this constantly shifting black amorphous mass that's vaguely dragon shaped, and it's throwing literally everything at you, and if you're not careful you're gonna have a bad time. So round of applause Capcom, like these two are exactly where I wanted this difficulty to be, so bravo. Arch-tempered Raidao though, like it's exactly where I was expecting the difficulty to be. Like after all, it's the first Apex you fight in this game. It's not gonna be like an arch-tempered Valkana or a primordial Malzeno. It's still a good fight. I done it first go with only 1 card, but what do you expect from an early game monster? You know, it's all about the ramp up after all. But the changes to the moveset are really nice, the aggression I think is in a really good place for Raidao, and the armor for you fashion hunters with all the extra fulgurite all over it is looking really cool. And I'm not sure if any of it's going to be meta or not, because I don't really look at that stuff, but I've already got the arms mainly for the double 3 slot, but also Evade Extender is nice to have, so meh. So that's just a quick couple of minutes on the monsters, and I really want to talk about the Grand Hub, because honestly I think it's fantastic both in and out of the Cherry Blossom Festival, and honestly the Grand Hub for me is always an indication of what makes Monster Hunter so great. It's just that small encapsulation of everything that goes into this franchise, and it's honestly all in the details and the level of care. Because they didn't have to add something like the Diva, right? And they especially didn't have to make 2 songs. Like, honestly, 1 was enough, and having a festival specific one just adds so much to the charm of these games. And both the songs are beautiful, by the way. Like the level of detail and the performance capture for the Diva is actually insane, so bravo again Capcom. I also just want to talk about the Zoshia gear and weapons quickly, because it's so good to finally get away from a slab of green metal that has one of the most boring endgame grinds going. And I know Zoshia isn't the meta by like 7 EFR or whatever it is, but you know, who cares, use the gear you want to use. I know I am, and I'm absolutely not spending my time on a 1 in 500 chance of a roll for Pistol Raw that looks fugly bugly. Because after all, we're in the fashion hunting part now, and until they drop the red scarf, I'm basically where I like to be. I also really like it when greatswords have that tiny little animation pop when it's the right release timing. You know, Nergi's greatsword had the spikes in World, and that was an instant neuron popping off moment, and while Zo's isn't as prominent as that, it's still just enough to fire off that one and only neuron rocking inside my head. There is also one final tiny detail that I'm keeping an eye on, and I think everyone should too. Like, Gormagala's now in more maps than just the Ice Shard Cliffs and can now appear in Wyveria, which naturally spreads the frenzy to more monsters. I'm willing to put money on this being a major plot point in future updates or even the expansion, because as I said in my full review, the frenzy plot is basically just here for lip service and is over as soon as it begun, and obviously we're gonna get like a chaotic Magala and Shagaru. It's just a matter of when really, but I'm excited to see where they take this if they expand on it at all. So I think with everything, Title Update 1 is absolutely a continued step in the right direction. Not that I'd ever had any doubts really, but I do think if anything, Arch-Tempered Raidao should have been before Zoshia, because honestly that's the fight that's given the most trouble out of the 3, and personally, is absolutely the star of this update, and it just took the wind out of Raydale's sails is all. But I get the impression that HR's Shield was content that was meant for launch. You know, they didn't just quite make it, like with the story in Rise due to COVID. Not that I'm complaining, because game dev is hard and we still got it regardless, and everything is incredible. Oh, but I almost forgot. Thank you, Capcom, for the gift of the Chungus Crake. I visit every time I return to the Grand Hub. And with that, let me say thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, leave a comment, like and subscribe. How are you finding the new hunts yourself? Have you done what I did and fully switched to the Zoe weapons over the arty and stuff? Let me know in the comments. And again, make sure to subscribe if you like gaming and anime. We've got a lot of cool stuff on the channel, some really cool stuff coming down the pipeline, so don't miss out. But I've been Mitch692, you've been great as always, and this has been Title Update 1 for Monster Hunter Wilds, so peace!